Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be making a shoe animation and also adding water simulation to make a splash on the shoe. So let's get straight into it. You can see that I already have my model in Blender already. If you want to get this particular model, I have the link to where you can get it. It's from Sketchfab. Alright, so now let's start by adding the properties for the simulation. Before we add any other thing, I'm going to increase the size of this object. Use the measure tool. I find out that for when creating a simulation, you want your object in the scene to be a bit bigger. So I'm going to have it something maybe 12 meters. Yep, this is about 12 meters. So I'll G to get it to the normal location. Okay, so now I'm going to start by adding the domain object. The domain object, I'll be using a cube. Let's go and enable the viewport display. Let's make it a wire so that I can see inside of the cube. Make this also a bit bigger. This size for now is okay. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Now that we have our domain, I'm going to add another object which will act as the fluid emitter. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. So now I'm going to come here to physics properties and start adding physics fluid simulation. Now I'm going to enable the fluid. Come here, make it flow. Have it at liquid. Flow source. I'm going to have this at 5. So for the initial velocity, I'm going to increase the normal to 100. Then what else? I think we are done with these settings. Then I'll come to the bounding box. I'll make it a domain. So type, make it domain. Remember to make it liquid. I'm going to have the resolution at 128. If your computer can't take it, you can take it to 64, but I'm going to have it at 128. Border collision, I don't want the fluid to be colliding with any part of the cube, so I'm going to disable all of this. Disable the front also. For the type, I'm going to make this modular and enable ease planar. You can choose the direction where you want your cache to be. I'm going to select sneaker sim or document, create a cache file for it, new folder, cache for sneakers, or whichever folder, whatever name you want to give it. All right, so now scroll up, mesh. I'm going to enable the mesh. For the particle radius, I'll have it at 1.3 to have a more realistic particles. Okay, so I'm going to change the object property. I'm going to have it to wire so that I can see inside of my object. I'm going to give this a nice rotation, something like this. All right, so now let's go to the animation and bring in the camera to our scene collection. Then now shift A, camera, bring it to this point, and the rotation, I'm going to have it at 0, and X 90, have it looking at the shoe. Come here, press 0 to have it at camera view, bring the camera backwards, something like this. And then for the camera, I'm going to have this at 120. The focal length, I'm going to pin it at 120. I find 120 to be suitable for product animation. Then for the resolution, I'm going to have this on Instagram resolution, so 1080 to 13 by 1350. This is Instagram resolution for your Instagram reels. So all right, what else to change? Okay, so I think we have the settings for now. Frame rate, I'm going to have it at 60. Don't save yet. So I'm going to come back to the domain, physics property. I'm going to bake it and see the result that we have. Big data. All right, now we are done baking the simulation. Let's bake and see what we have. So now we have this simulation. Instead of going up and making a splash, it goes back down. Why we're having this issue is because I have to disable the gravity. So when you scroll down on the field weights, you come here, gravity, and disable the gravity. Now it won't have that effect, but we have to bake the mesh again. So I'm going to go to free and bake again. Now the simulation is done. Let's play the animation and see what we have. I like where this is going so far, but I want to tweak the settings a little bit. So come to domain, free data, come to, okay, the simulation actually ends at 250. I'm going to make it end at 120. Okay, so I'm going to add effector to this. So come to fluid, effector, so that the fluid can actually collide with this. So I'm going to increase the size of this, bring it down a little bit, maybe to this point. I'm just tweaking the rotation, maybe shoot it like this. Bring the camera, bring it forward a bit closer. This is close enough, I guess. Let's save this. Let's save this sneakers. Okay, so now that we have this, let's bake it and see the result that we have. Make sure this is facing the right direction. So now I'm going to bake this. So bake data. I'm not going to allow it to bake to the fullest. I'm just going to press escape here and see what we have. So now the data has been baked. This is what we have. I think I'm satisfied with the result. Now we can go ahead and start tweaking some other things. But before that, let's make the shoe. Let's make the shoe animation. Let's give it a little bit of animation. So at frame 50, this is where the animation is going to end. So I'm going to give this 50, end at 50. So at frame 50, let me clean this. We don't need this frame. So at frame 50, I'm going to press I, location, rotation. At frame 100, at frame 20, I'm going to change this, or let's go back to here at frame, or yeah, at frame 20. I'm going to change this a little bit like this. Yeah, location rotation. Then take it back, and then at frame 1, move this back, take it to the top, something like this, move it back, I, location rotation. So let's see what we have. Moving too fast doesn't really give me the result that I want. So I'm going to increase this. I'm going to move it to this point. Let's see what we have. It's a bit slower now. Okay, so I'm going to go back, move this backwards more, so that we can actually see the effects. I'm going to add a rotation to this, something like this. Yep, location rotation. Aha, now we have this. Okay, so the next thing to do is just to bake, to allow this to finish baking. While it's done baking, then we're also going to bake the mesh. So resume it. Now we bake the data. Aha, the bake is done. Now let's bake the mesh. Bake mesh. The mesh bake is done. Let's play the animation and see what we have. Okay, I'm going to increase the time of this animation to, let's say, let me try 100. Sorry, 100. 100. Take it back, play it. Okay, so at this point, so I'm going to increase, I like it at 100, so I'm going to increase this a s to 100, move this back a little bit to 50. Let's see what we have. What about if I take it to 30? Okay, so now I will move this back a little bit, so I have to break free everything, and now you can see that even when you zoom in, you can see that the fluid is passing through the object. We don't want that, so we are going to also increase the surface thickness of this. So now I'm going to come and I have to free the bake. So free data. Also remember to take it to wireframe so that you can see what's going inside. Remember that I said we are going to increase the thickness of this, so 0.05, and then I'm going to move this backwards like this a little bit. Let's see if I can push this or leave it at this point. Yep, so I'm going to increase this by a little, something like this. It's okay. Then what else? So let me bake it and see what we have now. This is looking nice already, nicer than what we used to have. Let's bake the mesh. Hopefully it comes out nice. The mesh bake is also done. Let's take this to solid, make it to solid and see what we have. This is a far better result. So now I'm satisfied with this. I'm just going to go ahead and render this. So go to the, I'm going to, before the render, I'm going to add a plane. So come here, Shift A, plane. I'm going to make the plane my backdrop. So move this R90 S10. 10 not big enough. This is probably big enough. So now I have to render also this camera. So before we start adding the background, let's render the camera. So at this point, I think I'm going to move it like this. High location rotation, then move it slightly backwards to like this. High location rotation. Camera movement is a bit subtle, but it's no problem. Let's move this backwards. Somewhere like this. Let's see if we can. If I move it this, it's okay. Yep. So let's move it backward and see. High location rotation. I really didn't want this to be part of that scene, so I'm going to move it. Alright, I just location. Then I'm going to move this closer. Yep, I location to give the camera a little bit of subtle movement. Alright, so now I'm going to come here, give it I'm going to go to circles, GPU compute, the max samples. I'll have my render at 164 because I want it to render faster. The film, not the color management, I'm going to have it at high contrast. Then come here to the object world property. World property, I'll be using a HDRI for my lighting. So HDRI, select an HDRI that fits your need. To download HDRI to get these HDRIs, you can get them from HDRI Haven. Okay, so now this is looking a bit nice. Let's give it a nice background color. That is the plane. Something like this. Then decrease the saturation a little bit. Then what else? Let's give this fluid color. So go into the shading tab, have it at this, new material, the roughness I'm going to have it at 0. Shade smooth, I'm going to shade the liquid smooth. IOR for water, it's 1.333. Okay, then what else? I'm going to come to the transmission, increase the weight all the way up. So now we are having a little bit of something like water. I'm going to add a shader that is called what's the name of this shader? Volume absorption. Then plug it to the volume and have it at 1.5. Then I'm going to make this a little bit bluish. You can see the thickest parts of the water is bluish, which it gives it a nice look. So now let's go back. So let me increase this to like somewhere like this. Decrease the saturation, decrease saturation, and then I'm going to add a modifier, the subdivision surface modifier. It's going to hook. It's hooking now. My laptop, it's hooking. My laptop has hooked. All right, seems like my laptop is back. I'm going to have this at 3. That's it. That's it. So now that we have everything, just come to the animation, and I think it's now time to render what we have. It seems like I'm going to add one more light. So come here, light, area light, move this backward, increase it to, let's say, 5,000 and see what we have. 5,000 too much. How about 1,000? 1,000 is okay. I'm going to give this something like this. Or let's try blue. Let's just take it to, let's leave it at a warm light. Let's leave it at a cool light. So something like this. Just decrease the saturation. This is okay. So now I'll just go ahead and render. To render, I have to select where to render it. Options, select the folder that you want to have your render. For me, I'll go to videos, animation, new folder, sneaker frames. I'm going to go sneaker frames. So I'm going to make this render as frames. So I'm going to leave it at PNG. All the settings here I'm okay with. I'm going to render everything all out as frames, so that while rendering, when it's something happens to my system, to my computer, I don't have to start from the beginning. I'll just start from the image where I stopped. When it's done rendering as images, I'll put them together and make them into a video. So now come here, render animation. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you.